Hi, I'm Miles from Roland Canada. I'm here to show you the VAD716. We've got acoustic design style drums, digital pads, and the brand new V71 module. Let's take a listen. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Please consider liking and sharing this video and subscribe to the Long McQuaid YouTube channel if you'd like more awesome videos about the gear that will help you make music. I've had a great time getting to know this kit, and I'm very excited to share with you some of the awesome features that make it the ultimate drumming experience. Let's take a look at some of these features, but first, let's hear some more of the sounds from this kit. You've already heard kit number 1, Studio A, which is just a great general purpose kit. Let's take a listen to number 6, Vintage Loose. This is a warm, round sound reminiscent of vintage drums that's great for bluesier or jazzier styles. Now, let's take a listen to kit number 30, titled Hard Rock. This is a kit that's great for music with a lot of intensity, energy, when you need a really punchy, powerful sound. That's hard rock. Let's take a listen to kit number 13, Piccolo Funk. This kit is tight, crispy, bright, and is great for pocket playing. Now, let's take a listen to kit number 18, Hall Ambience. This kit is a great showcase of the V71's brand new Ambience engine for creating space and dimension. Let's take a listen to this spacious kit, Hall Ambience. So those are just some of the dozens of pre-configured kits in the V71 module. We'll talk about the module and its features and sounds, as well as the pad set in greater detail later, but let's talk about what the VAD716 is. This brand new flagship kit in Roland's V-Drum series is the ultimate in drumming expression. It feels incredible, it's lightning fast and responsive, and offers the highest possible sound quality. Awesome integrated electronics in the full-sized wood shells, combined with powerful and unique technology in the V71 module to give you a limitless sonic palette and an awesome, striking visual statement. The brand new satin walnut finish and brand new 4-tom configuration will look awesome at home, in a recording studio, or on stage. And the editing capabilities and the expansion capabilities of the module means you'll have an endless sonic palette to cover you for any gig or session that you might play. I've had a blast playing this kit so far, and I can't wait to show you all of its awesome features. Let's take a look at the sounds and how we can edit them. There are hundreds and hundreds of sounds in the V71 module, and they're very easy to manipulate. So whether you're using the built-in sounds in the V71 module, you import your own sounds via SD card, or using the module's Wi-Fi to expand the sound with collections from Roland Cloud or DW Soundworks, you have a lot of fine-tuned control over how the sounds work and how they interact with each other. The module features a kit customized section with 6 buttons that make accessing the editing function you're looking for very easy. If I hit the instrument button, I bring up my instrument selection menu. I can play a drum to select it, and now I can view the 3 layers that are available to me for that drum. And this is something that's brand new for the V71 module. Each zone of each pad can have up to 3 different instruments assigned to it. And you could do this to bolster or enhance the sound that you're playing, or for new creative ventures. I can select a layer with the arrow buttons, and then use the dial to add a layered sound. If I hit the Function 2 button under the screen, I can bring up my V-Edit menu. In the V-Edit menu, I can control the individual characteristics of each sound separately. So all 3 layers have their own V-Edit control. In the V-Edit menu, I can do things like change the tuning of a drum, change its depth, change the type of head applied to it, change the size and the distance from the head that the mic is. So I have a lot of control over the individual characteristics of each drum or cymbal or instrument. The next function button brings up the transient menu. The transient is the initial impact of a sound as it hits the diaphragm of a mic or leaves a speaker. By increasing the duration or the volume of the transient, I can create a sharper or fatter attack for more punch, or I can decrease those parameters for a softer, more legato sound with less attack. So again, all 3 layers have individual transient controls. I also have individual EQ control for all 3 layers. So if I'm using a primary kick drum sound that's deep and full, and the secondary kick drum sound that's sharper and punchier, I can EQ low end out of that second kick drum so I don't get a buildup of low end because I'm using multiple samples. The next function button under the screen brings us to our layer mode menu, where we control how the 3 layers interact with each other and change according to velocity. I'm going to bring us to another kit where I've pre-set up some layers to show you how that works. So in this kit, in the instrument mode, layer mode menu, if I hit the tom, you can see a visual representation of the 3 sounds that I have assigned to this kit. I have a tambourine sound as my primary layer that's active at almost all velocities, an 80s laser tom sound that's active at middle velocities, and then a Verbi 808 clap that only comes in at the hardest velocities. So by controlling my dynamics, I can play 3 separate sounds independently. So although I have a lot of drums and cymbals to choose from, I can get a lot of functionality out of a single drum just according to how I play it. Another really great way that you can use layers is on the hi-hat. I've got a traditional hi-hat as my primary layer, and then maraca upstrokes on my softer hits and downstrokes on my louder hits, so I can get a more nuanced percussion sound while simultaneously playing the hi-hat. This is how that sounds in a groove. So whether I'm using one drum creatively to play multiple sounds, or I'm just adding a nuanced layer of percussion, having 3 layers available to me, or 3 instruments per pad, gives me a lot of freedom to play different sounds. Let's take a look at the next section of the kit customized functions in the V71 module. If I hit the EQ compression button, I have additional layers of EQ and compression. So I have 3 layers of EQ available to me. In addition to the instrument EQ that I mentioned in the previous section, I can also apply EQ to each pad in the kit individually, or to the overall output of the kit as a single instrument. EQ is a very important tool used in every stage and studio mix to sculpt the sound of instruments and to make them balance nicely with other instruments in the mix. The EQ can be configured in stereo mode or in mid-side mode if I want to retain, for example, low-end power in the middle of the drum kit, but I want to clean some of that low end out of the sides of the mix to create more space for other instruments. I also have 2 layers of compression that I can apply. I can apply compression to each pad individually to smooth out the dynamics and get the drums to work more nicely in a mix together, or I can apply compression to the overall output of the kit, again, to either smooth out the dynamics to make the drums easier to mix, or I can apply the compression in a more extreme manner to sculpt the sound. I can create fatness or attack or grit using compression on the overall output of the kit. I've got two types of compression available to me. I've got a standard compression with a ton of parameters that I can edit, or I can change to a FET style compressor, which is a vintage tube or valve style compression, which gives you more of that kind of tape grit, old school type of sound. So both EQ and compression are very important elements in sculpting the exact drum sound that you want or need for a mix. Another really important part of an overall drum sound is ambience. The VAD716 module has a brand new ambience engine that gives us a lot of control over how the drums interact with the environment they're in. We're not used to hearing our drums with our ears right up close to each individual surface. We hear them as an instrument in a space, and that space is very important for our overall drum sound. So when I bring up our ambience menu, I can activate and deactivate the four components of ambience and control their volumes. Those four components are the overhead mics that are capturing the drum kit, the physical room that it's in, its size and characteristics. We have an individual reverb that we can send drums to individually, and we have a kit resonance function that allows us to control how much the shells are actually reverberating in the space. So if I open these sections, you can see that, for example, the overhead, I've got a lot of control over the configuration of the mics, the distance from the kit, the size of the diaphragms, and then I have a lot of control over the way the transient and the compressors are hitting those overheads both before and after. So I've got a lot of control over not only the types of mics that we're using, but how the drums themselves are exciting those mics or activating those mics. So I have similar controls for the room, the reverb, and the kit resonance. And if I jump into the send menu, I can control how much of each individual drum or cymbal is activating the room or the overhead. So not only can we really hone in on the exact drum or cymbal sound that we're looking for, we can really hone in the exact room sound and the exact ambience and the exact space and dimension that we're looking for, which is a really important part of bringing the drum sounds to life. The last section is the bus effects menu. Previous VDrums kits allowed you to apply between 1 and 3 effects to each kit and then route your drums and cymbals to them. The VAD716 introduces effects buses. If I open this bus effects menu up, you can see each bus allows me to apply 2 effects. So I have up to 8 effects available per kit, and I can choose whether I send the entire signal so it's totally affected, or I can mix the unaffected dry drum sound with the affected wet sound. I'm going to play you another kit that I pre-configured here that has some bus effects, and let's take a look at how those work. So I'm going to open up my bus effects menu, and as I hit a drum, I can choose which bus it's routed into. My kick and snare, for example, are routed to bus A, which has both a delay and a distortion applied for grit and space. My hi-hat and ride are routed to bus B, which has a chorus and a saturator. And my toms are routed to bus C, which just features a separate distortion. So I have a lot of control over using different effects and how they're going to hit different drums differently. So let's take a listen to how these different effects buses interact together while I play. So with the VAD716's kit customized section, we can dial in the perfect drum sound, we can give it life with ambience, we can fit it nicely in a mix with EQ and compression, and then we can get experimental and creative with bus effects. Now, let's talk about playing this drum kit. The VDrums acoustic design concept is all about marrying the benefits of electronic and acoustic drums. The integrated electronics and technology in the module give us a limitless sound palette, a ton of ways to connect with other musicians, and the ability to play at all hours of the day without bothering our neighbors. The acoustic design component, the full-size wood shells, give us the awesome and inspiring look of an acoustic kit and the feel, the tactile feedback that we get when we play an acoustic drum kit. So the fact that our smaller drums are mounted on L-arms, our floor toms sit on legs on the floor, really enhance the mind-body connection and allow us to flow around the kit without thinking too hard. We hear a floor tom sound, we feel the way a floor tom feels to play on, and it looks like a floor tom. All the drums are mounted on our DTS30 stand system, which is super professional, totally rugged and reliable, and absolutely roadworthy. We've got two 16-inch thin series cymbals, so these crashes not only give us a great flex and feel awesome to play in, but they're less fatiguing when you play for long periods of time. And we've got three digital pads, the CY18DR, the VH14D, and the brand new PD14DSX. So our digital pads offer electrostatic sensors, which are touch sensitive. They give you the highest possible dynamic range and the most sensitivity. The new PD14DSX also has an awesome new feature. It's got a fully functional snare strainer. You might have noticed that at the beginning of this video. Let's take a listen. So not only can I disengage or re-engage the snares, I can also use the dial to adjust the tension of the snares like you would on an acoustic drum. Here's all the way loose. Tighten it up a little bit. Tighten it up a little bit more. So by default, the snare strainer works the way you would expect an acoustic snare strainer to work. You control the tension and whether the snare wires are disengaged or re-engaged. But if I go into the other menu in my kit customized section and I choose the strainer submenu, I can actually program the snare strainer to do different things. So I'm going to change the strainer knob to actually adjust the tuning of my snare drum. So if you're on the gig and you're going from a swampy ballad to something a little bit more up-tempo and busier, you can change the tuning of the snare drum instantly to reflect your needs for that particular song. In addition to controlling the state or the tension of your snare wires or the sound of the drum itself, the knob on the snare strainer can also be programmed to control different parameters in the V71 module. For example, I can use the knob to control my click track. I'll make the settings in the module here. And then once I have that set up, I can press the knob in to activate or deactivate the click track. And then I can change the position of the knob to control the tempo. So whether I'm using the strainer in a traditional sense or I'm using it to control the module, not only do we get a more authentic playing experience because of the strainer, I also get a lot of added functionality that I can use to quickly make adjustments during a session or a gig. Another great new feature of the PD14DSX is the new rim profile. The rubber rim that you play on with the sensors built in is now inset and it's at a much lower height. So it's very comfortable to play, it feels more authentic to the acoustic playing experience, and it's really easy to control whether you're playing just the head, full-on rim shots, just the rim, or rim clicks. So it's a really satisfying and enjoyable pad to play on. So that's the kit. 22-inch bass drum, 4 toms, 2 crashes, ride, hat, snare, and this is all being powered by the V71 module. Let's take a look at some more features in the V71 module. The V71 module gives you instant access to the most important volume controls for your rehearsal or performance. I've got individual volume knobs for the master output of the module and the headphone output. I can control incoming music from an external source, whether it's connected by Bluetooth or connected physically. I've got a volume knob for the built-in songs that are incorporated right into the module itself, or for songs I play from an SD card, and I've got a separate volume knob for the click track. So I can connect any Bluetooth-capable device to play along to music or to send MIDI if you're using a MIDI-capable Bluetooth recording app. And I can use the song menu not only to play along to songs in the module or an SD card, but I can also record my performances, either just the drums by themselves or mix in with the music together to monitor my progress if I'm learning something new or to share an idea with bandmates. And the click track gives me a lot of control over the subdivisions, the sound, etc. There's also a coach function built in, which is really great. It'll play you a predetermined amount of bars with click track, and then it will silence the click track for 1 bar. So it's a great test of your sense of time and feel. So these features can be helpful if you want to play along to a click track for your gig. You can route the click just your headphones and play along to keep tempo during the show, or you can use them as a great practice function. The V71 module offers a ton of input and output flexibility. In addition to the drums and cymbals you see connected here, there are 4 more auxiliary inputs. You can use those to expand your VAD716 with more toms, more cymbals, or more auxiliary sounds. All of the inputs are totally customizable. There's also a foot switch input, which can be used to control things like the kit that you're playing or the song that you're playing along to. In addition to these inputs, we have a ton of outputs on the back of the module. The stereo output can be sent via balanced XLR or 1/4 inch, and there are 8 direct outputs on the back of the module. Any combination of drums and cymbals can be routed to those outputs any way you'd like, so you can give your mix engineer total mix control in a gig or a session. There are also MIDI input and output ports on the back of the module that allow you to connect with hardware devices to send or receive MIDI information. We've got an SD card slot. You can use an SD card with the V71 to load your own custom user sounds into the module to be assigned to your kits. We can save copies of our settings or custom-made kits onto the SD card to back up later if we need to. And we can save copies of the recordings that we make on the module. There's also a USB-C port, which we can use to connect to a computer. Connecting to a computer allows you to send or receive both audio and MIDI information. You can record multi-channel audio in up to 32 tracks, and you can receive individual discrete channels from the computer. You can also connect to an online drum lesson, whether you're teaching or taking one, and send pristine sounding drum audio from the module itself. And we can also send or receive MIDI information from a computer if we're connecting to a live playback system or we want to access different sounds from VSTs. Speaking of VSTs, there is a ton of sound expansion capability in the V71 module. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, which we can use to install new Roland sound packs from our Roland Cloud libraries or DW Soundworks packs. This is super easy to do. We can use the built-in Wi-Fi to download packs directly to the module, and then from the expansion menu, it's very easy to install those new kits and new sounds into the module. In my expansion menu, I'm going to select my electronic kits that I've installed, and I'm going to select Load to Kit. I'm going to choose the TR909 Inspire kit, and I'm going to hit the load button, and I'm going to select a destination for that. I'll put it in one of my user kits, 85. I'll load that, confirm my selection. It's quick and easy, and now I've got a brand new kit with new sounds, new settings instantly loaded up. Let's have a listen to how this sounds. So at the touch of a button, I've installed a brand new electronic kit with multiple sound sources that would be great for a contemporary pop gig. So although there are hundreds of sounds and limitless possibilities for editing in the module, if I ever find myself lacking for a particular sound, there's a high likelihood that I'll find it in Roland Cloud's library. So I can connect the module directly to my Roland Cloud account through Wi-Fi, and at the touch of a few buttons, install those libraries and assign them to kits. That's awesome. The V71 module and the VAD716 also represent the first true partnership sonically between Roland and DW. DW drums make some of the most sought-after acoustic drums in the world, and those sounds have been incorporated into this module. It contains extremely high-quality multi-sampled recordings of various DW kicks, toms, and snares that you can play. Let's take a listen to a kit that has some of those drums. This one's called Pro Studio. Awesome DW sounds. In addition to the built-in DW sounds, the V71 is also fully compatible with DW Soundworks libraries. So we have hundreds and hundreds of built-in sounds and a ton of ways to manipulate those. We have all of the sounds available to us from our Roland Cloud account, and we have all of the DW sounds available in their Soundworks packs. That means the sky is the limit in terms of the sounds that we can create with this kit. So that's a quick look at the VAD716, the new flagship V-Drums kit from Roland. The shells feel incredible and they look amazing. Of course, if the satin walnut finish isn't to your liking, this configuration will be available in the 4 finishes previously offered in our VAD line. We've got drums and cymbals that respond beautifully with the utmost expression of our drumming. And we've got an awesome new module packed with great new features unique to Roland. Color screen, built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, limitless editing capabilities, and limitless expansion capabilities. So not only does the drum set look and feel incredible, but it sounds amazing. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you need more information, please click the link below. Consider liking or sharing this video and subscribe to Long McQuaid's YouTube channel for more awesome content like this. Let's play this kit one more time.